Okay, so I'm going to explain a little bit about nickel columns and how we like to do the nickel column and which ones to use and how to save the resin and medium. So if you're going to run a purification, you need a column. We can go and find an old column that's been used already. So this one here, it's not labeled, which is not great, but it has some old resin in it. This is dried out though, so I would probably want to discard the resin, the blue stuff. But the column is still useful. So I would rinse this out with some DI water. Be sure and turn it upside down, get all the old beads of nickel out. Then run some nanopure water through it, and then run your lysis buffer through it to prepare it. And then you could add your nickel or your protein sample at that time. So this would be a good column to use. Another column we have here, this one is dried out too. Let's see if I can find one that has a little bit of, so this one has some liquid in it. There's a little bit of resin in here. If I'm going to use this column, I'm going to save this resin and put it into up here we have the used NiNTA resin. So we take our resin, we save it, we can strip it and reuse it. Don't confuse that though with the recharged resin. Recharged resin is one that's been chemically treated to recharge it with nickel. It's been stripped and recharged. So if you just says use nickel, you go here, and then later on we would get it from the recharge. So so this nickel would be taken out, saved in used nickel, and then you can wash this column out. Be sure and turn it upside down, rinse it out with DI water, the nanopure, and then run your lysis buffer through it, and then you can add new fresh nickel to it. When you're getting fresh nickel, we have the NiNTA Hispure from Thermo Scientific, and if you can see this, there's a layer. There's a blue layer on the bottom, which is the actual resin, and then the upper layer is the buffer. So we want to make sure and take these and shake it up so that it mixes all around. And now that mixture is more homogeneously distributed, so when you're pipetting, you'll get the appropriate amount of nickel in your pipette and not just buffer alone. So then you'll run your column. After you've run your column and done all the steps of purification, you'll be able to do a light stripping on your nickel to rinse off old proteins, but not strip off the nickel itself. And then your column, you want to make sure and label it and store it in 30% ethanol. See if we have one of these that's labeled for 30%. This one says 30% ethanol it's been stored in. So that's what we can store it to prevent any microbial growth. So that's the end of how to get your nickel resins ready for purification.